and welcome back to another video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on that post notification bell. So a lot of you guys have been asking, Kim, what's going on in Japan? Why have you not been talking about the corona? Well, I really didn't want to talk about this, but you guys been asking, and if you follow me on Instagram, Kim Dick's Diary, just like the name of this channel, you'd have seen that I have been asking polls due to how many people have been inboxing me about this. So you guys said you wanted a video, and here it is. So this is going to be an unfiltered raw video. It's just going to be me talking. No, just to let y'all know, it's not going to be a conspiracy theory. It's not going to be anything where I come up with these crazy things to say what's going on or why it's happening. This video is basically going to be my experiences in Japan, specifically in Yokohama, which is about an hour from Tokyo, and what has been happening around me. Okay, so let's just jump into the video. So, and again, just keep up because I'm just going to be... So if you guys watch my channel, you know that in February I left the country. I learned about the coronavirus in January. Now, the coronavirus started in China, as you guys probably already know, back in December. In January, I learned about the virus. In February, I left Japan. I was in the US for a couple of days, and I also went to Jamaica. I was a little bit concerned about that trip because seeing that in February, the entire world was knowing more about the coronavirus and how serious it was, I was thinking that I was going to be under quarantine, seeing that I was coming from Asia. Well, I got to America. Nobody asked me anything about where I've been. Nobody said anything to me. It was fine. So I was like, woo, all right, one leg over. Just have to get through to Jamaica. Got to Jamaica. It was a tad bit different because I got to the immigration officer and he was like, have you been to China? I said no. And he was like, you know what? Japan is close to China. Go ahead and hit the nurse. So I went to the nurse and she just asked me, have you been to China? I told her no. And she sent me on my way. So I was happy I was in quarantine. My family, everybody was kind of scared. They're like, girl, you're going to get quarantined. So that was good. I was happy. Coming back, I was a little bit scared too. But when I got back to Japan, there's a quarantine section in the airport. There was nobody from the airport there. So I was like, okay. While being overseas, my phone, I was done with Japan, right? I wasn't thinking about Japan. I wasn't checking emails, nothing. Japan was not on my radar. So when I got back and I realized there was nobody at the quarantine station, I was like, well, maybe the situation is a little bit better now in Japan. Turn on my phone, notifications, just on top of notification messages, people asking me, yo, you hear what's going on? Because only a handful of people knew that I left the country. I'm like, no, what's going on? I'm checking my work email. I'm seeing that the Prime Minister actually closed schools. The kids are going to be out of school. I'm like, wait a minute. This thing is getting serious. Like, what is going on? So my friend, he's been keeping up with the numbers and doing all of these things corona-wise. So he, like, before I left, he was like, Kim, I'm a screenshot to let you know when where the numbers are at right now, and when you get back, I'm gonna go ahead and screenshot again so we can see the difference and all these other things. So of course he was like blowing up my phone. Are you back? Are you back? You need to see these numbers, XYZ. So over 100 people were infected, and he was like, yo. But something in my mind wasn't making sense because I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I was able to come into this country. Nobody asked me where I was coming from. Nobody asked me any questions. Have you been in contact with anybody from China, with anybody with the virus? Nothing like this. But schools are closed. The numbers have increased so drastically. Like, what's going on? So of course the thing on my mind was, do I have to go to work? So I later found out, yes, I do have work. And I was like, well, what am I going to be doing at work if the kids aren't at school? Why am I needed at work? What more so didn't even make sense. The reason why the kids weren't at school was because they were trying to protect the kids. However, the teachers were going to school. Now me, I take public transportation. I take 3 trains, and my commute is like an hour and change to get to school. a little bit over an hour to get to school. So if I am going out and I am going to the school, even though the kids aren't there, I am bringing the virus there. The other teachers are taking public transportation or whatever it is. They're still out in public. So the virus is still going to be there. So whenever the kids do come back to school, if we have been out in the elements and doing all the things like we normally do, the likelihood of these kids to catch this virus is going to be high, especially with they're at home, their parents are still going to work. Nothing was making sense to me. I couldn't understand the logics behind closing schools but the jobs were still going. Like, the kids are at home, but their parents are still going to work, but they're taking public transportation, having to give it to the children. Like, it wasn't making sense to me. And on top of that, do you know that the Prime Minister said that the schools should be closed, right? But then there were people who were insinuating, well, it was just a request or a suggestion. What part of that was a request or a suggestion? So the teachers should still be going to work. Also, you had some schools that were still taking, that kids were still going in because the Japanese society had a problem with this request that school, here you hear what I'm saying? So the Japanese people had a problem with this, that the Prime Minister just unexpectedly closed school. I don't know how it was unexpectedly when we all knew about the virus from China. Like, we all knew about it. Who didn't know about it? How is that unexpected? There is a pandemic that's brewing. So they said it was unexpected. They didn't have childcare, so they were disgruntled. They were upset. They did not like this. They were not a bit happy. So some schools still had schools going in, and I'll insert a clip of even some nursery school children. That was walking by my street, still going to school and doing whatever. It was mind-boggling to know that, like, here's the leader of a country saying something, the person that you guys elected as your leader, as your official, telling you, hey, this is what we should do, but you are doing the opposite. It didn't make sense to me. It really didn't. It didn't make sense to me. But people were upset, man. They were upset. So fast forward to graduation. They had a close graduation ceremony where it was just third graders, which is ninth grade. So it was just the ninth graders and the teachers at the graduation ceremony because they didn't want the virus spreading. However, after the graduation was done, outside, all the parents were there, okay? Parents, grandma, grandpa, sister, brother, friend, everybody was in the schoolyard. I was like, what is going on? So might as well we had opened up the school, open up the auditorium to these people because they're all here. No social, guys, I have yet to see social distancing happening in Japan. I have not seen it. There is no social, I don't even think they know about social distancing, to be honest. It hasn't happened. Everybody was there and I was just like, this is crazy. This is crazy. The same kids that you're trying to protect is everybody out here mixing and doing everything together. So it makes no sense. Another thing that didn't make sense to me, and this is one of the main reasons why I don't feel safe in Japan, is when there was a ship, the Diamond Princess. You guys probably already know I live in Yokohama. So there was a ship, the Diamond Princess, that was docked in Yokohama, which Yokohama is a part of Japan, correct? So Japan somehow, I don't know if they were the one who decided, I don't know how this part is. But on the Worldometer site where I use for my numbers, there is the Diamond Princess and then there's Japan. So the numbers for the Diamond Princess was 700 and something people that were infected with a different number from Japan. They isolated both instances, making it seem like Japan and where the Diamond Princess was is not the same place. It mind-boggling. It what was even crazier was the fact that so Japan got their experts, right? Because they needed to quarantine the ship. The ship has the corona. It needs to be quarantined. So they got their experts. Experts came, and all of a sudden, guys, the people who were supposed to quarantine this disease, the people who were experts about quarantine, they got the coronavirus. They were infected with coronavirus. You know who doesn't have faith? Me. It was just crazy. I was like, what is going on here? In addition to this, the numbers in Japan are so low. So low. Up to this day. Today, April 2nd. Yes, today is April 2nd. And the numbers in the numbers in Japan is like 2,050 something people that are infected. 2,050 something people that are infected. Every other country in Asia's number is way higher than Japan. It's like, what? I don't believe you. You're not testing. In fact, there was an article that stated that on average each country is testing 9,000 people per day. In Japan, 900. You hear me? I'm going to say that again. On average, each country was testing 9,000 people per day. And on average, Japan was only testing 900 people. I don't feel safe here because the numbers are not real. They're not testing. In addition to this, it seems as if everything that was happening, they were trying to make, because some of you might, well, everybody probably know by now, the 2020 Olympics were supposed to be in Tokyo. That has been postponed now until 2021. It seemed as if the nation, like Japan, was trying to live in this world where they were pretending like Corona was not happening. So they ignored everything. It's just it's crazy. It's really crazy because I don't know. After the Olympics was postponed, they announced that it was postponed officially. The numbers for the coronavirus jumped up by over 100 in Japan. Coincidence or not? That don't seem right. So the entire world is just shining on Japan. Just like, what are you guys doing over there? Ooh, hold on 1 second. So Japan, sorry about that, guys. So Japan it's just like they're in a total different world. They're trying to pretend like nothing is happening, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't feel safe because I don't believe the numbers. Another thing is, one of the teachers at my school, they were informing me that school is supposed to start back in April. I can't remember if I said that before. So the Japanese system is a little bit different from the Western system. So in March, the school year ends and the school year begins in April. Like April 11th, March 25th, the school year ends. April 11th, 13th, thereabout, the school year starts. So the kids haven't been out to school for a long time. So there's two types of people in this world. You have proactive people and reactive people. The Japanese society is a reactive society. They don't understand proactiveness. It seems like it's not in their vocabulary, because this lady's going to let me know, oh, schools will start as usual. Yeah, because there's not many cases of corona in Japan. So I said to her, so is Japan testing? No, you have to have the symptoms first, and then if you go, you might get tests, but we don't have it. I said, okay. So then she continued, and she was like, yeah, so the kids are going to school for a month, and then after a month, after they get back in April, they go to school for a month, and then the governor, the prime minister will then make a decision if school should be continued based on how many people, on how many students got sick. Where they do that at? That don't make no sense to me. Like, who does that? Who does that? Why would I want... Guys, comment down below if that makes sense. I cannot fathom that idea. The logics behind it, maybe there's something wrong with me. But why would I want to put myself in a... Why would I use myself as a test dummy? I'm not going to do that. We know that we're in a pandemic. The entire world is in a pandemic. So why would I then put my kids, the future, in this position? It's either, see... That's the thing. It's either we're going to do something or we're not going to do anything about it. But you see that in-between thing that they're doing is not going to work. You can't contain things by being in the middle, just trying to please both parties. And at this point in time, it seems that's what Japan is doing. They're trying to please the outside world and they're trying to please their people. So the people want to work. The outside world is like, what are you doing? Don't you see that we're in a pandemic? And they have no idea where to go. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I don't trust them. They say one thing, and to me it's like they're saying things for the public to hear, but then their actions behind it. Like they've been saying Tokyo is going to be on a lockdown. Where? When? I just talked to one of my friends from that works in Tokyo. He works in Shibuya. He's like, he's not on shutdown. He's not on lockdown. He's been going to work as usual. Everything is just the same. My other friend that lives in Tokyo, he told me the same. He's like, him going, just working, doing everything the same. I'm okay. I'm like, okay. So it's like you're saying one thing, but you're doing another thing. Your actions and what you're saying aren't matching up. Social distancing is not happening here. People are acting like this virus is not real. Everybody's going to work, caca-cooing, laughing, doing whatever they please. It seems like only tourist areas or tourist destinations are closed. Like you have the Universal Studios Japan, the Disney World, places, tourist attractions are closed. But then if you look into places like where the Japanese people want to go, I was just in Osaka and I visited many local spots that were still open, and it's just like, okay, so it's like you're trying to do is that in between thing, you know. See, you have to decide what you want to do, where you're going to stand for nothing or fall for anything. I don't know if it's even the thing, if it's that way it goes. I don't think it's so it goes. I don't know how it goes, guys, but I don't feel safe. It's a pretentious society. It's the numbers are not real. They're not testing. There is no way Japan's number could be so low. But I urge you guys to stay safe. I will be going live at on 4/2 Eastern time at 10 a.m. And let's just talk about this coronavirus. How are you feeling? Checking in. If you don't want to talk about corona, we could talk about something else. This is my first time going live, so we'll just see how it goes.